Well, ladies and gentlemen, and flight sim enthusiasts, and anybody else, here we are at Castlegar, British Columbia, in my, or rather, airfoil labs, King 350. Very good airplane. Of course, I'm just learning how to fly it. We're going to try and make a flight from Castlegar, BC today over to Nelson. Both airports are difficult approaches and surrounded by high terrain, mountainous terrain. So I'm going to try it for the umpteenth time to make a successful approach into Nelson from the west. I'm not even sure this aircraft should be able to get in there because the runway is only 3,100 feet long, and the approach is very difficult. So anyway, we're going to give it another go here. Then if we don't succeed today, we're going to go to somewhere where have more fruitful results, I guess. So we're going to go to the normal page here. We're not going to do all the checklist, but we're going to do the before taxi checklist. I have it both on from the flight or pilot operating manual by the pilot's left leg, and I have it set to automatic. I've also got it all printed out here. So let's go ahead and do the start checklist.
Gen tie switch. Observe left generator tie, right generator tie annunciators illuminated. Open. Voltmeter. Observe center bus at battery voltage. Check. Gen tie switch. Observe center bus voltage normal. Normal.
Okay.
Bus sense switch. Observe left generator tie open, right generator tie open, and battery tie open annunciators illuminated. Rotate the voltmeter bus select switch through each position. Note 0 voltage on all positions except battery. Observe center bus at battery bus and center bus.
Got a double voice going here.
Bus sense switch. Observe left generator tie open, right generator tie open, and battery tie open annunciators illuminated. Reset. Rotate the voltmeter bus select switch through each position. Observe center bus voltage norms except battery, external power, triple fed bus and center bus. Bus selector switch.
Triple fed.
Master panel and cockpit lights.
Get them on bright.
As desired. Environmental system.
Where are they? Over here. Environmental bleed air on.
Inverters 2.
2 inverters.
Number 1 and 2 AC bus annunciators extinguished.
Up here.
On check. Avionics master switch.
On.
On. FMS.
Selected.
Verify and accept. EFIS power switches.
Down here.
On. Flaps.
Flaps are up. Not going to use any flaps. What's going on here? My fuel cutoff switches for some
Exterior
reason.
lights.
What there? God, why is it doing that?
As required. Flight and engine instruments.
Something going wrong there. Instruments okay.
Cabin lights.
On.
As desired. Furnishing switch. As desired. Annunciators.
Lit up.
Test and normal. Flight controls. Free and correct.
Okay.
Flight instruments.
Okay.
No flags. Brakes.
Release the brakes. Brakes.
Release and test. Before taxi checklist. complete.
Okay, we go. Okay, I did notice something wrong there for some reason. Going through that checklist, my condition levers were going down to the fuel cutoff thing. We were lucky the airplane didn't shut off, but I've had it shut off before on me, and I don't know what's going wrong there because I wasn't touching the condition levers at all. So hopefully we've got it working right now. We're going to fly to altitude of 9,000 over to Nelson. Going to go fly over Kootenay Lake and come in along the Kootenay River into Nelson from the east. And I'm recording my two methods here. I've got Movi Screen Capture Pro software, trying to capture 2.5 out of 3 monitors. I'm also recording by my iPhone up here with have 2 different recording sound systems. The Movi software is using this Logitech headset, and the sound going into my iPhone is from my lapel mic here. So let's see if we can get over to taxiway. I've got we're gonna fly basically a GPS route, but it's a VFR flight, so we're just got that in there for a little bit of guidance. I've also got the georeferenced taxiways on my laptop through Navigraph, and I also have ForeFlight going here on my iPad. Taxiing in this thing I'm finding is a bit of a...
Approaching runway 15. Entered runway 15, 4,400 feet remaining.
Can be a bit of an issue because you gotta go a little bit between Bravo and Alpha mode to keep the thing moving there. As soon as you put the brakes on in Bravo mode, it stops. Got to go back to Alpha mode to get it rolling again, and then you can get rolling too fast. So sweet spot is somewhere between Bravo and Alpha, and we're not flying real weather, so our barometer is set at 29 or 9 or 2, and we are not hopefully using world traffic 3, which gives me nothing but headaches. So it's probably because I don't know how to load it properly. If you're not flying real weather, then you end up in conflict all the time. So, okay, let's go around, get her line up here with runway 15. I'm gonna arm my autopilot. If I don't do it before I start going, as soon as I... Anyway, okay, we're lined up here. Just check, we're going to 9,000 feet. Their engine instruments look okay. We got our gear up. We got to go to Alpha mode here now, and we're ready to give it a go here.
Airspeed alive. 60 knots. E1.
Rotate.
Full.
Huh. I didn't say anything about rotate or okay. Gear up.
Flaps indicates up. Attitude indicates up.
Man, it really gets climbing out there. Okay, we're gonna use the climb mode. So probably put the nose down a little bit here because we're... Yeah, so now it's putting the nose down with too much speed there. Anyway, I'm not quite doing that right somehow. I'm not climbing out right and controlling my speed decently. We're in the climb mode, so it should settle down about 167 knots. That's where we're at now, 168. We got our FMS activated and our HSI set up to track the FMS, although we're only flying a VFR route. Okay, that's 1,000 feet to go, altitude. Like I say, I've tried to make this approach into Nelson several times and haven't been successful at it, so probably because I just don't know how to handle this aircraft well enough yet. I need a little bit more time and a little bit better lineup for approach so I can get my speed and everything controlled. So here you really got to be controlling everything as you're banking towards the runway. So, okay, we're now at 9,000 feet. So bring our speed, our power levers back to about 80% there. Props back to about 1,600. And everything looks okay. Just a brief blurb from the taxi chart in for castlegar. Caution, mountains surround the airport and protrude into takeoff and approach areas of both runways. 40-foot AGL power line approach to 3-3, approximately 1,500 feet from threshold. Aircraft on instrument approaches may use high rates of descent. See VFR terminal procedure chart. And the high terrain reduces operational lengths of runway 15 and 3-3 PAPI. So you can see it's a little bit difficult airport to get into, although Air Canada does fly into it, and there's it's surrounded by very high terrain, as is Nelson. Only smaller aircraft get into Nelson, as far as I know. So once we get over the Kootenay Lake here, we're going to start descending over the Kootenay Lake, and then we're going to come up from the east, following the Kootenay River to Nelson. Fly west of Nelson up the valley a bit to where we can turn around and try and come back and make an approach onto, I guess it's runway 22. I'm not too optimistic I've been able to do that, but we'll give it a go. If it looks too bad, I don't know. I keep saying I'll just do a missed approach and come back to castlegar, but at some point it happens quickly. You got committed, and there you are. So we're going across on that FMS to our waypoint boxat, where we're going to start descending over the Kootenay Lake. So see what happens with my Navigraph here. I'm having trouble with it too. At least a little internet connection, and of course I lose it all. So, and I have my laptop with Navigraph on it here, and my iPad with my ForeFlight on it. Okay, we should set our preference, go to the preference page here, or performance page, the landing page, to set up our reference bugs for landing. Altitude, I think it's 1,700 feet. I'm just going for memory here. 1,700, enter that. We're just flying standard barrel. Runway length, that's the thing we'll try and put in. That's about 3,100 feet, so it's not very long. Runway heading, we're not going to worry about that. Gradient, so we're going to click on set markers, and we got our speed bug set over here. So we'll go back to the normal page there, and we should have that on the approach. we're not going to do it. I'll just read the approach checklist. It's surface de-ice is required, auto feather should be armed again, fuel balance, pressurization, environmental bleed air, that's all cabin stuff, cabin condition. The main thing is the landing data, which you've already entered, and then the approach briefing. Well, there's just myself to brief. Flaps below 202 knots. Here you can go down to the approach flaps setting. We're just gonna put that out of the way for the rest of the flight here. I don't know whether you can see that. Or not. This is a cover I have on my desk to reduce the flare somewhat, if I can. Go outside for a quick look before we get over the Kootenay Lake here. See the valley right here, Kootenay Lake. That's where we're gonna do our descent. I know I can hear from outside here that one thing we didn't do was sink our props there. You can hear when you go outside in particular go whoop, 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 whoop. That's the engine's not being synced. Okay, we're going to start our descent down to 5,000 feet here. We use the descent mode. And I've got everything set up on my wheel stand pro, my Satec throttle quadrants, my rudder pedals down below. I got this multi-panel Satec, which you can actually set take care of most of the functions on the autopilot. So that's handy, but somehow I sort of work between the two of them. Okay, getting our speed coming down. We're going to let it come down to about 180 knots. We're at 208. Once we get down to below 200, we're going to set it one flap approach just so we can fly a little slower up the valley, etc. Come down, let her come down to what's 198 now, so we can. We'll leave that for a bit. I'm going to let the speed come down to about 180 knots, then we can put our gear down if necessary. A little sooner than normal too, so we can. Okay, we're still descending at 1,500 feet per minute down to the 5,000. I'm actually going to bring it down to about 4,000 so we can get down and low and dirty, so to speak, in the valley there. As you can see, we're over the Kootenay Lake here, and then we turn to the left up here, follow the Kootenay River basically up into Nelson. I watch my speed there now a little bit. We're still at 6,000 and descendant. And I'm going to put down the 1 notch of approach flap. Something wrong with the software there. When you put the gear down, it says flaps up, so that's some problem that I don't know how to deal with. I think it's Airfoil Labs got to correct that or something, I don't know. my speed down. I don't want to get up past much, or 180. Then we're going to come down to closer to Nelson. We'll bring her down to 140 knots. And we're just about down to the 4,000, 4,700. Roadside for quick view again. Watch your speed now, where you should be capturing the 4,000 here. So let it come now down to about 160 knots, but I don't want to, 170, I don't want to go lower than that at the moment. So we're on flap approach, just so we can go a little slower. You can actually, according to the panel, right off the panel of the Airfoil Labs plane, it says 202. You can go down to flap approach speed. To come down further, you got to be down to 158 knots for full down flap, and gear extended. You can go down, actually extend your gear if you want, 184 knots. That's right off the panel up here. So we're going to go outside again to get a little more scenery. And we're still following the GPS course on our route, although we're just to make it easier flying, and we're still it's a VFR flight. You can't get into Nelson on instruments as far as I know. It's strictly a VFR deal. So I think unless it looks really good and I try and make my approach again into Nelson, I will just do a missed approach, climb out and come back to Castlegar. Now we're 169 knots. I like these 2D pop-up panels because without scrolling in and out all the time, I can't read the instruments well enough. So I like them. I don't think it detracts at all from the simulator experience as such. I'm going to put these up a little. I always the condition levers, because I've had my engine shut off. Sometimes you do something with the mouse and all of a sudden the condition levers go, down to fuel cutoff, and now you're got to try and do a quick engine start, which I have done. Okay, I'm going to bring my speed down. It's still coming down a little bit. We're going to get it down to about 160 knots now, because we're not too far. I guess we're only 6 or 7 miles out from a little more runway there. Like I say, I'm not very optimistic. I can't control the aircraft well enough with a banking turn right to approach. I need a little more time with my inexperience to line things up. So anyway, it's be a beautiful place to fly, even on the simulator. If X-Plane 11 would come out with a winter package or snow package. Okay, you can actually see Nelson right down over here, and the airport's right in here. A little closer, we'll disengage the autopilot and try and fly it manually. I'm going to put my gear down now. I know that's really early, but just so I can come down to 140 knots, not worry about the gear alarm coming on. I think we'll now go down about 3,000. Actually, we're going to go down to about 28, and I think that's a little better than 1,000 feet above the terrain. I think it's supposed to be 1,700 feet here. So we got 3 green at the gear down, and actually we can go, well, we won't go full flap yet. We're basically going to be flying right over the airport here. You can see it right down here. We're going to go up into the valley, come around and try and come in there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to disengage the autopilot now and see if we can do it rest ourselves. I'll get my speed down. I'm going to go down to full flaps now, so
1,000 feet to minimum.
bank a little bit. You can almost, there you can see the runway just down over our nose there. We're still pretty high, so we want to get
$500.
We're about 140 knots, and we're about 1,000 feet up. We don't want to go any lower. Got to go quite a ways up in here so we can get a little turnaround space. That's my speed. I don't want to get down too low. I'm at 125 knots here because we've got to make a tight turn here. So we got full flaps down, gear down. Okay, there's a little fairly wide area here. We can hopefully, oh, God, it's just so hard to get it trimmed out. Get that out of my way now.
500 feet to minimums.
Fairly steep bank around here.
200 feet to minimums.
Try and watch my altitude. Don't want to overdo it here. See a bridge or highway down there. I don't know where that road leads to. Okay, I gotta start getting down again. I want to be down to 2,500 feet, I think. Knots. I'm at 2,800, so that's about 1,000 feet above. I want to get down a little bit more now.
100 feet to minimums. Minimums.
God, it's just so hard to get trimmed out. Always go too far over on that darn runway. So again, it doesn't look good. I didn't quite hug that corner enough, so we're just going to abort and climb back out. Full power, gear up, flaps up, props full pitch. Yeah, it's I'll get it one of these days. I just have to get into the, I don't know whether I can go climb mode and when I don't know, I want to get my altitude up to 9,000. Should have had that already preset. Okay, I think I can go climb mode. And it should come up, my speed's going to come back down to 167 knots, and we got 9,000 set again. Let's see what happens here. I got to watch, the nose should come back down. When I get close to the 167, the climb out mode climbs you out at about 167 knots. So yeah, my nose is starting to come down there now. I got too much speed on. I guess again I don't manage the plane very well. So we're at 166 knots, 165, and we're leveling. We're still about 15 degrees pitch. So we're going to just basically reverse our track back to castlegar. So we're now capturing 9,000. So I've got to bring my throttles back again to about 80. My props back to about 1,600 again. Well, castlegar is a little easier to get into, but I have trouble with that too. So we're at 9,000 now, so we can use the heading mode. And we should be able to use heading mode now, and I should be able to bring the thing around with that. So we've got the autopilot engaged, and our altitude is captured, and we're just using heading mode to help with the flying a bit here, and we're basically going to follow relatively close to our inbound. I really don't like playing with the mouse, so it just always causes me nothing but difficulties. I'm either zooming in or zooming out. I think you have to have a pretty steady finger. And I should be able to, I don't know whether I can reduce the bank angle on that. I think I can by, it's called half bank. We'll see if that makes any difference. Doesn't make a lot of difference. Okay, again, I did bring my power levers back to 80 some percent, but they're still now reading 93. So I don't know why that happens. They always seem to go back up, and I got to bring them down again. So I don't know quite what's going on there. I don't need the FMS there anymore because I've got it on my, we're basically following the route on my flight here. Okay, we'll cut the corner a little bit again here so we can save some time. We're basically flying 150 heading. And we'll keep it coming around to south. I hope we're capturing some decent, I have to keep this dark in my so-called cockpit so I can get anything out the windows, or else it just shows white, which doesn't do very good or much for the scenery. So we're going to intercept basically a reverse track there, going back down to castlegar, although we're flying VFR, but we're using that as our main navigational source. I really don't need the FMS there, but I don't know, I guess it's actually, it might even be tracking that in reverse, I don't know. See what happens with that. We're just intercepting it now. Does the needle do anything? I don't think it should, because we're not really we're going backwards on the route, so it's not what's plugged into the FMS. I'm using ForeFlight just to follow the route track back, but that's not what's it's Navigraph with flight with my laptop, which loads the flight plan into your FMS. So you can't do that with your ForeFlight in the simulator. So okay, we want to cut some corner, bring it around a little bit more. I'm going to bring my we're alright with throttle settings forbidden. Oh, I think if I do that approach enough times, I'll get it. It's just you got to be right on at the point where you bring it around, and I left it just a little too late there, or it might have been, and you got to be right down on your altitude. So I'm going to keep working at it till I get it in there, and then I'll get her on the runway and see if we got enough runway to stop. Meanwhile, I should do a little research and find out I think the runway length is I don't know, around 3,500, 39 for the King Air, but I gotta, of course, all that depends on altitude, air temperature, etc., etc., pressure altitude, or what they call it, and density altitude. So we're basically right now on our reverse coming back to Castlegar, and hopefully we can get in there this time. I haven't been doing a very good job of that either, but I'm going to have to start going to do different flights for a while to Okay, I'm going to start bringing my power levers back a little. I want to get my speed down a little bit, so back to about 220, I think. So we'll be flying past the runway, and we'll be circling to come back from the west. Let's see. This is the castlegar chart. I guess we can get it up there. Yeah, so we'll be landing on runway 15 from the west. That's the castlegar taxi diagram. We can't see us on there because we're out past the diagram, obviously. I read different things about the condition levers. I've read some articles where for most normal operations with 350 King you don't have to go above flight idle. Yet I've watched YouTube videos where I've seen them taken off, and with the idle levers at high idle, the condition levers at high idle. So there seems to be different philosophies when not to use them. So I don't know for sure. This is a study level aircraft, and for me it's certainly all a big study, trying to teach myself how to fly the plane and IFR. I have a private pilot's license, but I got that like 40 years ago, and I had like 50 hours on it. So I have flown FSX in the past, but not a lot compared to a lot of people. So we're at 9,000. I think now we can come down to, well, we'll come down to a little bit anyway, 85. See what happens there. Get it it down a little bit there. We're still at a safe altitude, as we can see out the windows, and we're flying VFR. So. Can come down to 8,000. Ah, 7,500. Okay, I'm going to disengage the autopilot now and fly the rest of it because we can see everything here. Props full ahead. And we're down below the 202, so I'm going to put flap approach on because we got to descend fairly steeply here. And we're on 158. I'm going to put the gear down because we got to come. We're now at 158, so I can extend the gear. You can see the runway just out over our right window there. Pretty steep descent rate here to get down, so a little over 2,000 feet per minute. So I wanted my flaps down so I can. And actually, we can go to full approach flaps now. We're down below 158, so full down flaps. I can now go with that also. Help me get down here. I think I'll go outside for a minute, but see if I dare risk it. You can see the runway. You can't see it very well in this mode, this far up, but in this airplane mode, you can do it. Or the inside the cockpit, you can see it. Okay, I got full flaps down, gear down. I'm gonna keep my speed down about 140 knots here. Go up here where I can get down a little bit more too.
Feet to minimums.
Ready to beam the end of the runway here now. So.
500.
Okay, I don't want to come down anymore now. Oh, where's the runway? There it is there.
Short final runway 15.
100 feet to minimums. Minimums. Feet. 50 feet. Pumps full. Pumps full.
Like I say, put the brakes on when you get it down to Bravo mode and it just comes to a halt. Okay, we turn around here. We successfully landed in Castlegar, which makes me feel good. We'll taxi back to the terminal area, and I think I finally got another video I can upload to my channel. It's a different view for sure. It's probably not one that many people like, but I hoped at some point be able to edit my two ways of capturing things. And okay, we're taxiing back on the runway. We've got that geo-referenced over here on Navigraph. We're gonna go try and go off on Bravo, I guess. That's not the first one. That's well, you got Delta, Charlie, and Bravo. It's the last one. Oh, I'm happy. I didn't force try and make a landing with a terrible approach, and we landed successfully in the Castlegar. So overall, better than I fared for the last few days. Well, I've been away for a couple of days, but. So we're passing Delta. I guess that's Charlie there also. So the next one should be Bravo here, if it's even on the... It's on the taxi diagram, but it doesn't appear to be on the in the airport scenery, so that's interesting. So we'll have to keep going right down to the end. I got the official airport diagram, but this scenery is from Canada 4-plane, X-plane, 4X plane, I think, Canada 4X plane, and obviously I'm missing something there. I have problems with every one of the Canada 4X plane scenery in that it's usually missing an object or two, so I can never get the complete folder to work properly, scenery to work properly. I mean, it's not a big missing thing, but you get these scenery errors all the time. Okay, we're coming off here right at the terminal. We're halfway between Bravo and Alpha on the condition levers. This is the terminal right ahead of us. So we'll just turn a little bit and park to the east so we can see a little bit more of the scenery. Oh, I'm happy. I didn't try and make a disastrous landing in Nelson when my approach wasn't satisfactory, so we were able to get back into Castlegar. That's good. Okay, there we are, folks. We're in front of the terminal here. We're going to go down here now and put our brakes on. Go to the fuel cutoff up here on our throttle quadrant. Shut our Avonics switch off here. And And I'm going to put my condition levers back for the next flight, because this it remains in the state that you left it in. So supposedly, so we'll go back, look outside. We'll find my movie screen capture stuff and shut it off, stop it. There we are. And we'll shut off our iPhone.